Good day everyone, the Anime DAO is back with another video. We will be looking at some more manhwa that deserve to be animated. I am quite sure these series are getting animated in the near future, and you can hold me to that. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy our content, since that does motivate us to keep going. But enough about that, let's get to the video. Yu Ling Shi is an interesting series from Tencent Comics. It is one of the most popular series on the platform, and it has stacked over 600 chapters over its runtime so far. The series began back in 2016, so it is actually not that old, but it still managed to gather so many chapters. However, do not be intimidated by the number of chapters, as they are shorter than manga chapters, so they stack up easily. So why has this work managed to capture so many fans in China? Yu Ling Shi is very much a web novel inspired manhwa story. The story starts with a manhwa artist working on his comic until he suddenly passes out and wakes up in a strange place. Soon he finds out that this is not just a strange place, but a different world altogether. So here we have some of that isekai touch, but instead of the usual western generic fantasy setting from isekai that we see in Japanese series, here we have a Chinese fantasy one. However, this is not just any old isekai world, it is actually a world he's quite familiar with actually. And the reason for that is because it is the world from his manhwa. So it's not only a familiar world, but the one that he has literally created. This plot device is quite interesting. It does give the main character a really huge advantage in comparison to anyone else in the world, right from the get-go, like most isekai. But at the same time, whilst he might know how the story plays out, he does not know how his presence will change it. In this world he crafted, he finds that he's just an extra buddy character of the main character. But he does not want to simply play that role. So he uses his knowledge of the systems of power of the world to quickly grow reasonably powerful. In a short amount of time, the roles are reversed, and the main character of the story becomes the buddy side character. This series is fun. It is not a masterpiece in any way. It gives all the tools for the main character to succeed right from the beginning. But his journey to getting stronger is not all smooth sailing. There are bumps here and there, but it is hard to imagine him losing. However, I do think whilst the main character is basically overpowered, it has good action scenes, comedy, and in the end of the day, it is a light, enjoyable isekai-ish manhwa series. And that's why it's so popular, and why it will be animated soon enough. Sword Empire is one of the most popular manhwa from China. It has over 300 chapters and counting. The series was published in the classic manhwa platform Youyaoqi that emerged in the early 2000s in China. Youyaoqi has been recently bought out by Bilibili, so all the series there are in the process of migrating to Bilibili's comics platform. Sword Empire is definitely not only one of the biggest titles, but also one with a lot of promise for multimedia projects, so I expect Bilibili to explore an adaptation of this series sooner rather than later. The series began in 2017, and it managed to become a massively popular title in Youyaoqi, which in itself is a big achievement actually. Youyaoqi for the last few years has been in a stable decline, especially due to the emergence of rival platforms that have more appealing monetization models. So Youyaoqi has been dependent on its classic popular titles. But the Sword Empire managed to break through and establish itself in the platform. So what is this series about after all? It is an interesting blend of genres actually. It's an VR MMO series, but instead of a focus on RPG elements, it is a lot more about warfare and kingdom building. It involves a game called Sword Empire that is still in the beta stages, but it is out in the market and it has many players. One of the players is the main character, and he is quite a proficient player. The main character is a knight in the game, but in particular his role is as the general, so he's the brains when it comes to any battles in the series. He's such a good commander that inside the game he's known as the Falcon King, a renowned player that managed to build a great kingdom, but the main character does not like to reveal his game identity in the real world. In the first chapter, the main character is starting his first day at school alongside his childhood friend, and whilst they are attending the club's fair, they stumble onto a Sword Empire game club. One of the leaders of the club offers a figure if anyone is able to challenge him. The main character is uninterested at first, but he comes back and beats him and gains the figure, and this sets the first initial steps of the story. What I like about this series is how different it manages to be whilst using the quite prominent VR MMO setting. It still involves the VR MMO that is not quite what it seems. There are some weird things going on, but the way it mixes up things, even if simple, drastically changes the way the series works. So it ends up being quite different because of its more macro outlook when it comes to conflict. Of course, it's not just the story that is well told. The characters are also likable, and the art has a charm of its own. Overall, there are many reasons this might be animated, and it'll be great to see it, because it is a really interesting story, and quite innovative in the VR MMO series genre. I have twin girlfriends. It did look like a wish fulfillment series from the title and the image, but it was not that, at least not blatantly so. After reading the first 20 or so chapters in one go, I was impressed. The first chapter begins with the main character saying he wants to break up. His puzzled girlfriend dismisses it and leaves for work, saying they can talk about things later. At work, the main character is given a promotion by his boss for his latest successful short film, and they hold a celebration for him. However, the main character, who is a bit depressed, turns to alcohol, and after having a few too many drinks, cannot make his way home by himself. His boss, who is a friend he knew from university, takes him home. It might sound like this all happens in the first chapter, but these things actually take over 5 or 6 chapters. At this point, we are kind of told why the main character is a bit dejected. It's because a man that works with his girlfriend tells him that she's not happy with him and that he's holding back her ability to shine. This only exacerbates an inferiority complex of the main character in comparison to how able his girlfriend is. In his drunken state at home, we the audience finally see the twins that live together with him, but he obviously does not realize that in his drunken state. Events unfold after that lead him into finding out that his girlfriends are actually twins. There is actually a reason the twins live the way they do, and it can be stupid at surface level, but looking introspectively, it does raise a few questions. Overall, I like the slower narrative. It could have been a lot faster, but it took over 7 or so chapters to show the twins. So it takes its time, and it's better off for it, because it does not rush into dramatic developments. It slowly introduces the characters and starts to show the relationships and how they work. I Have Twin Girlfriends did stand out in my mind in comparison to other series in this genre, regardless if they're either Chinese or Japanese actually. The art is good, and whilst the opening chapter covers are usually fan servicey, the series itself is not as heavy on fan service. I had very low expectations coming in, and it managed to counter them by showing itself to be a great romance series actually, that tries to be at least more mature. In addition, the slow pace and how smooth it flowed is what kept me reading, despite the fact I usually do not read series like this. So I really expect this to be animated in the future or get some sort of drama. It's really popular as well, and it's actually really enjoyable reading it. Surprisingly so for me, because I don't usually enjoy these sort of series, but it was really enjoyable. So that was the video, guys. So what is your favorite manhwa that you want to see animated? Drop that down in the comment section, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Catch you guys later.